Hey everyone, my name is Harun, you know me as Black Chaos, and today we'll be talking to the team behind Unknown 9. Let's find out more about their upcoming game, Unknown 9 Awakening, and the mysterious world it takes place in.
I'm Lexi Ottier. I'm the IP producer at Reflector.
And hi, everybody. Thomas Street. I'm the IP narrative director for Reflector Entertainment and the Unknown Nine story world.
Alright, so when we first got to see the first look of the game, it was pretty intriguing. So, could you explain a little bit about the setting of Unknown 9? Like, where did this world come from, and how does the game fit into this story world?
It's interesting. So the genesis of the story world, the Unknown Nine world, element, is kind of come out of humanity being at a bit of a crossroads. The thought process in that statement, as a people, we've amassed a large amount of information, a large amount of knowledge over the 2020 years that's on record at the moment. What are we going to do with that knowledge, and are we going to use it to elevate or eradicate the species? So we're kind of at a crossroads that is between transcendence and destruction. Thinking about that kind of idea, but in the past, there must have been civilizations that have come to similar moments, similar crossroads. We can't be the only ones. And how they dealt with it, what happened to them in these moments, was kind of a good thought experiment. They obviously would have done something. What are the records about those times? Have they been lost to the ages? Are they discoverable? Where would that come into play? So really that sort of was a little bit of how the Unknown Nine came about, to begin with the idea of this, big crossroad moment in society.
We took that idea. It's funny because we were thinking about that for so long, what Thomas is saying, and then we actually looked through tons of history books and we came across the legend of Ashok and the legend of the Nine, and it so closely resembled what we were talking about and what we were trying to develop here with our whole story world, that we loosely based the story world off of it. And so with that, our story world's so great because it has very current and modern day, and we have a lot of stories that are part of modern day, but it also spans the whole history of time. And like Thomas was saying, there's civilizations that are far predating our own that we don't even know existed, that could have been wiped out from the planet, and then civilization again. So our characters in our stories are characters that have had the veil lifted from their eyes. They are special. They can see and harness this power, this knowledge, and they're elevating themselves to enlightenment. And whether we don't really have good guys versus bad guys, but we have two different factions that see things, their perspectives are different about how to use this knowledge and power. And so that sort of that's the fuel that pushes their stories along. And so what Haruna's journey is in the video game.
So if you think about it, you take all that backstory, all that, and then you put Awakening in the middle of it. It's just like a great central point to a very realized world that's happening around this adventure.
It's funny because you did say Marvel and Star Wars and all these things, that essentially is what they've done. They've created these universes. We're just coining a different phrase, really, terminology for it. But I mean, our whole shtick is that we sell story as a service. So the story, the narrative comes first before anything else. And a story world is a living mythology. It's that universe that can span across any medium, and each story is its own entry point into that universe. So similar to what Thomas said as well, they're not spin-off stories. It's not adapting a book into a movie and it's the same thing. They're all different, and that's what the story world is.
All right, so let's just dive straight into the story of Awakening, where Haruna is a protagonist that we've seen in the teaser trailer already. What can you tell us about her role in the game? So what can we expect without, I guess, revealing too many secrets?
Yeah, you're gonna hate us because it's just, it's all secrets at this
You're
point.
not gonna tell me anything, are you?
Yeah, I appreciate it. You're gonna be frustrated with us. Let's put it that way.
All right.
I mean, basically, there's a lot of unique elements that are going to come out of Haroona. We're going to talk about it all down the road. At this point, basically, what we can say, that she's a unique character. Her connection to this mysterious ability that's present in the teaser trailer is going to be a central part of her and her journey. And when we dive into the game, there's going to be a whole host of other characters that are very fully developed, rich characters, plot lines that are going to all interact. Some of those characters are going to be visible in other medium prior to Unknown Nine Awakening. I'm not going to tell you who, because I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to spoil it.
Fair.
It's kind of an interesting thing. We're orchestrating the world so that there's no spoilers, so that you can have any entry point. But when you get to the point where you piece it all together, once you know that Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze, you watch Usual Suspects in a whole new way.
I was like, wait, why is Kevin Spacey in No 9?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Okay. All right.
But firstly, I love that your name is just like her.
Yeah, my name is Harun. So that was the first thing that got me when I found out that, okay, the protagonist is also named Haroona. And this is the first time I've seen something similar to my name, in a video game or pretty much any franchise really. Outside of something that's
it was the first time I'd ever seen the name also. So it's nice to see another one. I want to add too is that she a lot of lead characters in video games, I find when we say we have a lead female, a lot of people say, oh, is it the new Lara Croft, but really Haroona is so three-dimensional. She's our story world, like I said before, is not black versus white. It's not the good guys versus the bad guys. It's very much all in the gray area. And so our characters are very, very relatable. They're normal, just like you and me. They're regular people. They have flaws. They're not perfect. And I think that's what's going to be different about the character when people really get to play her.
Because from what I've also understood, this is a character whose setting begins, or at least from what I know, it begins in the setting of Kolkata in India. And that is a place that is filled with many diverse cultures and very different kind of people than what Western media, when they're going into the game, they might not be used to that. When they think Indians, they probably think of something different when they come to know Haroona. So how do you go about writing or telling the story of a character who comes from such a different background as Haroona? Like, what kind of research goes into developing this kind of character?
A lot of research goes in because in talking, we want to rely heavily as we get into the thicker part of the narrative development on experts, whether they're historians or professors or author, like people that are really immersed in the Indian culture, that we respect it first and foremost, and that we are creating a character and building those environments that are true to the Indian culture, especially given that the game is set 100 years ago. We want to make sure that those intrinsic social and cultural aspects are at play, so that it feels more real.
You mentioned a lot of gray areas and choices that Haroona has to make. Are these choices that Haroona as a character has to make, or do the players themselves who are playing Haroona, do they have to also make these choices through her? It might be a little bit of a weird question because I'm guessing you can't answer.
It's again, Haroon, you're sneakily trying to get all the games. But I appreciate that your approach was to go through the narrative because you're going to my heart. And I almost slipped up and gave you stuff, but you're really going to have to wait, unfortunately.
All right.
Like, you know, it is going to come out eventually.
For sure.
But there's definitely elements of Haroona that are super unique and are going to be really great gameplay. You know, that's probably something that everybody says about their lead characters. But there's a reason we're holding things close to the chest at the moment, because it's going to be it's really original. And I think that you know, if you wait, then you're going to enjoy the payoff.
There's a lot of these different aspects where people can interact with the game, like with the world, before the game even comes out. So for those people who haven't really started, how would they get started on this trail? How would you recommend them to get started?
I mean, for me, it's look to yourself as to what kind of media you like to take in. If you like to dive into a character's head, we've got a novel. You know, jump into it. If you've got the time while you're doing a commute, I mean, not everybody's doing commutes right now, but you know, if you're driving at the grocery store, there's a podcast to play. Whichever way, you know, if you've got 25 minutes while you're waiting for your friends to sign in to play games, the Torment, you know, the comic book, there's no specific entry point. And we've crafted it in such a way that whichever way you start, because this is always the fear, this is my personal fear when I come across a new IP or an entity, which is, am I going to spoil something for myself? Am I going to read the book first, and then that's going to ruin the podcast for me because I know the information? And we are orchestrating things that it's not going to be the way. What you're going to find is that whichever way you enter, you're going to keep going forwards, and everything's going to layer. And all you're going to want to do is go back and reread something, because now you've got a new light for a storyline.
We've strategically created the world this way so that, you know, we know every medium isn't for everybody, you know. If just because you read a book doesn't mean you're going to listen to a podcast or watch the movie or whatever. We know certain things, like a lot of video gamers like comic books, you know, so there's that. But again, everything is individual and can be consumed on its own. So there's really no rhyme or reason to it. But you know, we wanted to offer some of these products now with the teaser trailer so that people can already dive into the world. And as we start to release more information about the game, you know, the more that they read and the more that they understand about the world, the more heightened the game will be for them. But at the same time, we have the chapters, which is what the quiz that you're talking about is related to. And that is, it's, I mean, for lack of a better term, we call it an interactive experience, but it's an ARG. And, you know, it's there to help the gaming community get involved in the world if they don't like to read or you know, deal with the other products. So over the next 6 months, this camp live, and every week new content will be dropped, whether it's you know, more quizzes, puzzles, videos, pictures, like different things that they have to do and interact with the community. Like people from all over the world can play this and play with each other online, and you know, that will be a big part of the Discord community, and people are already, you know, populating the wiki. We're making our own wiki, but they're already making their own wiki, and so you know, which is great. We love this, but actually Thomas has been orchestrating a big narrative storyline for this chapters experience that's going to be quite cool. So
if you dig through, you know, maybe for whoever's watching this interview as well, if you dig through, there are some tidbits about Awakening and Haroona and the story world that are sort of the rewards as you go through those games, through those puzzles. Chapters initiative bridges the gap. It kind of goes from, you know, 108 years ago with Awakening through this Calcutta Science Institute into our modern day story world, and players are incorporated in it. I can't tell, like, it's something that I know a lot of the storyline. We've built a huge meta narrative that's going to be like the main caseload, but it's a really interesting thing because it's really going to be sculpted by the fans. When you sign in and play, your involvement is going to have an effect on what storylines we trigger and how the cases are revealed and what the puzzles are like. So it is a interactive game to no end. And then at the end of it all, the final decisions that are brought about by the community are going to be show real effect into into our story world. So it's really exciting. It's basically fans are going to help create storylines
and get rewards.
And get rewards, yeah.
Yeah,
oh, so
rewards that will help in the game. So
all right. So you mean like special cosmetics for Haroona, or like a bracelet that.
Yeah, all those details that you just want to know, all those things. I mean, what I can tell you is that what might be a standard thing to give away is probably not what we're going to do. We're going to try to challenge everything that we do, but there will be a web that we're working on to go both ways. So you're going to maybe find something in chapters that will pay off in the game whenever it comes out. And then maybe there's something on the wall in Awakening that you'll enter into our dashboard, on our website when it launches, and you'll get something new. It's all interconnected. It's completely new. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy, man.
I mean, you're definitely not talking about the gameplay aspect much. You're saying it's let me get this right, third-person narrative-driven action adventure game that tells us nothing. Can you give us something of an idea? Like, if we're going to relate this to video games that are already out there, can we even? Like, is there a similar video game that you could talk about without giving away anything about Unknown 9 Awakening?
There's a few I think The Last of Us, or Uncharted. There's some elements of all three of those games that we kind of took inspiration from, but yeah, I mean, it is really tough, and I always feel really bad that we can't tell you anything more right now, but I do promise that really soon, actually, we will be telling more. Really soon, telling more about the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. But there's a lot of exploration in the game.
I love me some exploration.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you're going to be rewarded for not, you don't have to stay on one path. It is narrative driven. It's not, a free roam world. And the games that Lexi mentioned, exactly, for story, for, reveal, for character, for, I'm hesitant to say structure, but just, when you hear those titles, you instantly kind of get a little bit of an idea of what they all have in line, and it's good company to be in.
I guess that's pretty much it, because it doesn't seem like I'm getting much out of you guys besides that much. So.
I mean, there's so much you got out of us in regards to Storyworlds.
There really is. I'm so excited now, because after talking to you guys, especially, because going off on my own and trying to figure out the world of Unknown 9 was fun, but seeing the amount of passion and creativity the entire team is bringing to this project, it's something really special, and I can see it. I can totally understand, and nice. I'm very excited.
With all the creatives we work with, there's a lot of passion into what we're doing. Not just the story, but the whole endeavor. It's loaded with people that really care about what's coming about.
And honestly, it touches our hearts, like people like you, fans like you, and just getting this opportunity to speak about it with you. It's like this is what we're doing it for. And now I just feel a lot more pressure because I don't want to disappoint anyone. So
yeah.
Yeah, I understand that can come with the expectations of the fans, especially when I'm sure you guys are on the Discord, on Twitter, and you're seeing all the discussions, conversations that are happening around the game. And you can see, like, I'm sure people are already starting to piece together some of these secrets that you're not telling me, but...
well, there's lots of theories. Everyone can have theories about these things.
There are definitely theories.
And we want to encourage that, theorize about what it's going to be. And then when it comes out, let's, see how well everybody's doing.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.